Hello and welcome to another edition of the Moving Iron Podcast. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for almost 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Axon was started almost 100 years ago out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. It's that same passion that drives them today. With a vision for a better experience for both farmer and dealer, they set out to create a better way to move more iron. When you partner with Axon, you get immediate access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. Axon carries all major brands and sizes of tires, wheels, and tracks. From custom colors and sizes to fully customized wheels, you can have the solution for virtually any problem today's farmer is trying to solve. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. This Moving Iron Podcast edition is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. So once a month, I'm lucky enough to have Jesse Peters from Axon Tire come on and bring someone from his team on here to talk about what they see happening out in the marketplace. And Jesse is always a pleasure to talk to and to see what's going on in the marketplace, get a different perspective from a different set of eyes out there as to see what's going on. So Jesse, how you doing today, man?
Good. Our second official session with you. It feels like the real deal now.
Yeah, I didn't run you off the first time. So things are looking up.
Not quite yet. We're still in business, so that's a good thing.
That is good.
Good to be here. Really good to be here.
Well, how things at Axon right now? So we've got a few kind of planting seasons kind of dwindling depending on where you're at in the season, but it's slowly kind of fade off, and we're starting to kind of switch gears and kind of look towards that harvest time, which is the next big kind of run up kind of to any growing cycle for the U.S. So I guess if you take a look at that harvest time coming around, what's going on at Axon? What are you guys kind of focusing your efforts on right now there?
Well, I mean, the short answer, Casey, is it depends. I mean, we're lucky enough to have a footprint from California down to, all the way down to Florida. So depends on which one of our sales guys you talk to. But it's really for us not too early to talk about planting. We're finding, especially when it comes to limited access to equipment, these guys maybe want to be running their equipment a little longer. And a lot of times those conversations more quickly than even we're used to seeing come down to, all right, well, what do I have to do to, optimize my tire, wheel, or track package on this based on either running my equipment longer than I intended to, or, hey, I found this piece of equipment in a different part of the country and it's not set up for what I want to do down or up here. Right. So we're slammed. I mean, we have headquarters out in Hayward, California in the Bay Area. We're based out of central Iowa, obviously our corporate headquarters, but we've got sales guys in Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska, and even down in Louisiana. So, you talk to these guys and their phones are ringing off the hook with guys like you working at these dealerships looking for support, because as we all know, and as I'm sure you've seen, it's kind of crazy out there right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's plenty of action going on and plenty of it's I like to always say it's kind of cautioned optimism. I mean, when your commodity prices jump up from $3.50 to $4 in September, October, November, and then all of a sudden now we hit almost hit $8 there for a minute and kind of settled back down to where we're at now. And then a lot of intraday volatility. There's a lot of guys that are kind of cautious about what they're doing, but at the same time they're still seeing $7 across the scale because there's a lot of positive basis out there. So. It's going to be an exciting run this summer, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think I've introduced my special guest. Seeing that we're spread throughout the country, excited to also bring unique perspective with our national sales manager Roy Diener, who's actually home based out of Texas. So it's that really small state down south, almost Mexico, if you've heard of it, somewhere down there.
Not too many people live there. Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, I appreciate the introduction.
Welcome, Roy.
Well, since I'm kind of new to this, and this is how it goes, we start bashing each other.
Yeah.
Now we glad to be on with Casey, and of course Jesse. It's always fun to be on with him, and yeah, good to hear from you guys.
Well, good. Well, Roy, why don't you give us a little background on yourself and how you kind of got to where you're at today?
Well, I guess it was about 8 years ago. I started with what was then CFI Tire. Started in the Texas territory. Back then, it kind of varied. We didn't really have a generalized focus necessarily to the implement dealer, but in the years leading up till now, we've kind of redirected our focus and rebranded, and now we're really focused at Axon towards the implement dealer. And as time passed, we've gone through some different managers and sales managers, so they've decided to put me up to doing the sales management for the implement dealer side, which is the Axon Tire side. And I'm really happy to be part of the team here. Good things happening. Of course, Jesse's kind of leading up marketing, and it's been a good thing. But what I really like is helping the customer out and helping the implement dealer out, and I'm can't be more excited to get a phone call every day, whether it's a problem or it's a order. So,
yep, absolutely. Well, Roy, you travel around quite a bit. Like Jessica was saying, you kind of cover that southeastern part of the United States for Axon. You got a big swath to cover there, so there's a lot of different stuff going on in that area, whether it's cotton and peanuts or sweet potatoes or whatever. There's a million different things that gets grown down that neck of the woods. Kind of going into this time frame right now where we're kind of passing that planting phase of crop production, and we're kind of looking at the application crop maintenance phase, and now but everyone's kind of gearing up for that harvest phase. What are some of the conversations you're having with folks out there, and what are some of the things you see popping up out there that are good and bad both, I guess, when you talk to your customer base?
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's a really interesting time. As you know, there's shortages on a few things, and then pricing rises on different products. So you get a lot of guys looking for different equipment, and you get a lot of requests for different setups depending on the machine that they're getting. So we're finding it unique at this time, trying to make sure that we got the stuff that's needed in stock. But we're also finding it very unique is some of the stuff we thought we generally have in stock would cover it is different than what's actually being asked for in the current market, just because of the lack of machinery being able to get, and some of the equipment that they were hoping to have isn't available in the main.
Yep. One thing that I've noticed, I've run into a few times, whether it's any manufacturer, whether it's a tillage manufacturer or a mainline, manufacturer, that there's some shortage of tires that you're not seeing offered anymore from the actual OEM. When you start looking at build codes and those kind of things, what kind of situations are you running into there where you can help some customers out with that Michelin tire or Firestone tire, something like that they may or may not be able to get from the order books that they have from the manufacturers?
Yeah, so we've got a couple customers that have been actually exercising the ability to order equipment on slaves and getting that in and just putting on the tires that we can get them. But we carry tires and wheels from many different brands. Couple years back, like I said, when I started, it was a lot of brands were on tires, but not too many different ones on rims. But we found that we had to get fairly versatile on our rims as far as suppliers go. So we've got a couple different options that we can supply guys with, and so it's really helped out, I guess, in that side, is getting them what they need to get out there in the field, but not lowering the quality too much. I mean, there's there's shortages, from manufacturer to manufacturer, just different things. Some guys are having struggles getting rubber, and the next guy's having struggle getting steel cable, and the next, it's not the same across the board necessarily for each tire or wheel.
Yeah, there's a plethora of things. One day you're coasting down the highway on a pretty good trajectory because you've got everything you need, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere comes a shortage in. Like for example, we were having some issues with belts, like fan belts and those kind of things, where it wasn't the rubber they were getting short of; it was the steel inside that belt that they were having issues with. So, I mean, it's like little things that you would never think about that pop up that really cause a big problem. So it's definitely a struggle out there.
In our job, Casey, because I sit in and overhear conversations and pricing meetings when our steel and rubber partners it's just costing it more to get here.
Yeah.
But we've got just here in central Iowa, almost a 300,000 square foot warehouse facility that we're quite frankly right now packing with as much inventory as we can, just so when those needs arise, because we all know what's going to happen a quarter from now, stuff is just going to run out. That's when we're hoping we can really, come to the plate and say, let's solve this problem. If you're loyal to this brand or that brand, we're certainly going to do our best. But I really see a time when, whether it's the implement dealer or the farmer, they're going to go, get me something that works, get me a setup that gets me through this wet field or whatever, So that's what we're trying to prepare for right now while times are at least semi decent.
Yeah. And just to that point, what Jesse's saying, a lot of these farmers have in the past may have, stuck to a certain brand of tire. This year's just a little different. It's, I've got to get either, I've got to get my crop in the field, and I don't see it changing very much. And I expect harvest to be a lot the same as, well, I got to get this stuff out of the field. So we're grooming ourselves and building our inventory up to hopefully supply that and help out as much as we can this fall season.
So when you're talking with, different used equipment guys, those kind of things across the country, and the guys you're running into, for example, some of the machines that come out of the South have skinnier rubber than what you see in a lot of other places. You see some 320s and some 380s and those kind of things. And there's that transition north to where you get more of like a 420, 480, a 520, something like that. What kind of hurdles are you having to jump over to get that, to make those transitions work, to get that, like you said, like that right set of tires on the piece of equipment to move that piece of iron?
Yeah, I don't know if we've had too many hurdles in that way. Jesse started out by saying we cover from Texas to Florida, coast to coast. And so what we take off in a machine out in Florida can be used in California or vice versa. And then, we've stocked up well on our 480s and 50s and, like you said, the 420, 34s, 520 stuff. We've stocked up well on that, and hopefully we can supply that out for this as much as we need. Again, it's hard to forecast in these times. It's just
it's really hard. Yeah, no doubt about it.
But Roy, if you're working with a sales guy at a dealership and he's got to make that changeover, just walk them through sort of what our process is for making that changeover. Explain our trade-in system. Because then it's incumbent upon Axon, right, to get that equipment and find another piece of machinery. So just explain how we partner in that way when somebody, an implement dealer, needs to make that switch and they make that call. What's that process look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you get a hold of us and get a hold of one of our reps or our inside guys, we got two inside guys, Jim Godrin or Kenny Seed. Definitely a huge help on the inside for technical help. And get a hold of them guys or your outside rep. But we're mostly looking for tires and wheels pictures. Kind of need to know what the tires that look like that are coming off. So if we can get those pictures, we can get you a fair estimate. And then we can also get you an estimate of what tires we have in stock. And depending on the time and what's available, yeah, we can give you a couple different options. And then once you do the deal, and we can help you out and get you what you need, we ship you the tires out. You let us know when the next ones, the tires that are coming off are ready to be picked up. They're off the machine, and we'll organize freight back. And once we get them, we inspect them, make sure there are no real bad defects in the tires or wheels. And we send you, put your credit back on your account, and invoice you the leftover. And I say leftover. What's left is we bill you that, because typically it's more than what was coming off, because you're taking off used stuff. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. That makes sense. That makes good sense. So yeah, used tires are a big part of used equipment, especially because if you got as nice as it is to put a new set of tires on something, but if you can take a 3,000 hour tractor and put some 75 or 80% rubber on it, that makes a big difference in the sellability of the machine, and also kind of representation of what it is.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Casey, because that's the other thing we do offer. So with these trades that have come off the machines, we don't just get rid of them just into a sale barn or something. We carry inventory for a while, and we carry it actually mounted up, and then we demount it after a certain amount of time, so we could maybe sell the rims and then the tires separate. But we carry them mounted up and try and move them on just like they came off. So we do have that option available, some 80% rubber, 75% and stuff. Just good stuff to dress up a used machine. That's our tagline, move more iron. That's really what we're here for, is to help you, the implement dealer, get out there and move iron and help them in any possible way we can, because we know it's difficult, and we can't be there at every sale, but we can do our part in making the machine look good with the tires and wheels so you can move it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the tires are such a key part to selling a piece of equipment. It's it can be the cleanest, slickest, shiniest piece of equipment on the lot, and if it has horrible tires on it, it really sticks out like a sore thumb. So it's those tires are a big part of that whole concept. No doubt about that. So, Roy, so talk a little bit about some of the wheel kits that you're focused on right now as you move into that time frame. I think right now there's going to be a pretty big move on combines. I think we're going to start seeing some used combine sales that have been pretty stagnant here the last 5 years or so. I think there's plenty of guys out there that've got some older machines and are just kind of waiting to see what happens and kind of get through this planting season and start making some projections and some predictions about what they're going to do. But I do think combines are going to be the next big piece of equipment to really make some runs on there. So if I'm out there and I've got I'm looking at taking a 1 or 2 year old combine that's got singles on there, and I want to switch over to a dual tire and wheel package type deal, kind of walk me through the steps of what you're going to look through there, and what should I be asking you about when I'm looking at these tires?
Yeah, well, it depends what you're doing for crop. What we need to be asking you, as in the implement dealers, what is the crop that he's trying to do? What's he taking out? Singles, a lot of guys fear with singles. You're running a 932 single. If you're running that over corn, you're going to get some stubble damage. And as we all know, stubble damage that eats the life of a tire up pretty rapidly. And so a lot of guys, we need to know what you're planting, because it depends whether you're trying to stay within a row or if you're not. Also, what's the conditions out there? If you're just trying to get as much flotation, less compaction, a nice set of duals, 520 42s, 580 42s. Those are good setups for combines. The big thing you got to worry about these days is load carrying capacity, because combines aren't made like the way they used to be. They're a lot bigger. Everything's getting bigger, and so you got to make sure you got the right load carrying capacity. And then, if you're worried about compaction, you got the IF and VF technologies out there. I think those are areas that we rarely touch on, but there's some very unique advantages to those tires. And I think that's something we need to evaluate more ourselves as tire guys and put out there. But as you guys call in, the implement dealer calls in, be asking about those IF and VFs and what the advantages are, because there's a lot to them, and it puts that footprint a lot bigger footprint, causes less compaction. But then if you're, down in the wet territory, you could put 710 duals on a combine. Those are big tires, but maybe that's what you need to keep the float in your area. So that's another option.
Yep. Yeah, the VF and the IF tires are something I've paid a lot more attention to here of late, just from the sheer fact of, just like you talked about, you get one of these combines, and then you strap a 16-row head on the front of it, or a 24-row head in some cases, 50-foot platform head or something like that. And by the time you have the front end of the combine plus the weight of the head hanging over the front of that, you could have 100,000 pounds right there between that. And you're trying to fight compaction, you're trying to fight stability, you're trying to fight all these different things that come into play. And skimping on tires is not any place that you want to go skimping on, because, like I said, you have this weight and speed and agility and all these different things you're trying to do with these machines now. One bad call on a tire could actually come back to haunt you. So talk about that IF and VF a little bit here, and just kind of give like a 50,000 foot view of when one is better than the other.
Yeah. So it's, IF, you can carry the same amount of weight with 20% less air pressure. And where that comes into play is it's, good on the back end of a tractor. You lower the pressure. Front end of a combine, you lower the pressure a little bit just to get that footprint out there, so it's not so much pressure in one point. But then if you're really, really concerned about it, I would go to the VF. And VF is actually becoming more common than the IF. That originally wasn't even out there when IF started. But the VF has become more common, and that's, 40% less air pressure, still carrying the same amount of weight. So you're really lowering that air pressure. Without showing you a diagram, it's kind of hard to explain that in a major way, but it increases your footprint and increases that, it gets that pressure as flat out as it can. With a round tire, that sounds kind of funny to make things flat with a round tire, but that's really what it's doing, is just making it flat so you're not packing that dirt, because a lot of these no-till situations, that's really what they're trying to overcome too, is disturbing the dirt too much so they can plant and get a good crop out the next year. So this is where we're trying to help out in the tire industry, is lessen up that compaction to make that crop come through smoother, taller, of course, better yield. That's always a big thing.
We'll see these guys, Casey, running in the field, at the tire pressure with these IF and VF tires. And I mean, they're so squishy. It almost looks like something's wrong on that tire, right? But they're doing the right thing. And the flip side of what Roy's talking about is, you can run at the same air pressure you had on a non-IF or VF and just carry more weight too. Same rule applies the other direction, right? So you can either carry the weight at a lower air pressure or increase the weight that's sitting on those tires at the same air pressure. So like Roy said, the stuff in the field is not getting smaller or lighter. So it is probably time to at least run the numbers or have us run the numbers with you. And that's really what our guys can help do.
And, Casey, these guys, these farmers, I don't blame them, but they're putting extensions on that bin, the hopper up top of that combine. And they're doing what they can to get as much as they can, so they have less time unloading or less time going to the turn rows. And you're not blaming them, but these are the things where if that's what your choice is, then we have options too. We just need to know what your plan is so we can help you out on the tire and wheel side.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very key point. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's one of those things where whenever you change something in your mix, whether it's a bigger planter or a bigger combine or something like that, the support equipment that comes along with that has to change as well, right? If you get a bigger, then you're going to have more support equipment. And to your point, some of these, I think the other day there's a 780 combine. They had a kit that you could put on top of the powerful bin on the top that give you an extra 100 bushels, right? So you're almost 500 bushels on that in that machine. You do the math on that. Just that by itself is a pretty significant number. That's not counting the 60,000 pound combine and the whatever 20,000 pound head that's out in front of that. I mean, so you're talking about some serious numbers, some serious weight going through the field. And all that being said, too, the type of tire you pick from a safety perspective, just slowing down and stopping and turning and everything else that comes into that also plays a big factor as well. So it's very important to give a guy like Roy a call and talk to him about what you're doing, how you're doing it. And it's not the same. It's just going down and getting the set of 480s or whatever down at the local tire shop anymore. There's quite a bit of science that's going into this, and there's a lot of inertia there, a lot of physics in play as you push these machines down the road. So, and
we do have all the product books on our website with the tables, recommended air pressures. I mean, you can go to axontire.com if you're the type of guy that likes to stare at the numbers yourself. Feel free to go out there, download those, take a look at it so you can be informed, or take the easy route. Call us. We'll figure it out for you. That's really what we're here to help do. So the resources are all out there. It's just a matter of how hard you want to work to go find it. So,
well, and, give us a call. We'll go through those graphs with you to help you understand it too. I mean, going down to your local tire shop might be by chance. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. We need those guys out there because we're not everywhere in the U.S., but we're here to help you sell the tires and wheels that we can to the market, and help out implement dealers and bring in the trades. But those small town guys, they're there to help out, in the patching up needs and stuff like that. So we're not against that, but what I'm trying to say is that might not be the worst tire fitment, but let's evaluate it first. We got to talk about it. We got to make sure that is what's needed for that machine. And just like Jesse said, though, if you really want to get down to the science of it, give us a call. We'll go through it with you. We'll look at it alongside, on the web at the same time. Or if you just want us to talk about it, we can talk about it too. We're here for a resource. In the main, along comes the sale, but we're here for a resource to help out the implement dealer.
Right on. Well, that's great stuff, Roy, man. I really appreciate you guys taking time to be here, Roy, and sit down and talk about what you see happening out there in the market.
Yeah, no, it's good. Appreciate being on here.
Yep.
Sometime we'll have to do this in person. I know this is kind of the way things are nowadays.
Yeah, the new normal, right?
Well,
exactly right.
Unique.
I tell your listeners, Roy dropped, and he kind of glossed over it. Just a little tip to keep out there, especially as Axon's out there busy filling up their warehouse, and you guys are out there busy trying to find the equipment that your customers are asking for. It may come down to the time where, when you're ordering from, your manufacturer, one option is to throw those slaves on that machine and let us get the tires that your customer wants, because it may get to the point where, we're the one with the full warehouse. Your customer knows the machine and the tires they want. Let's put those two things together if you can't get it direct. So that little tip we're hearing, I'm hearing it a lot out west, Casey, and I think it's going to bleed this way, but that's a strategy. Now, as you're trying to move more iron and sell this equipment to your customers, just keep that little option in your back pocket as, something to consider, because, that's really what we're here to do. Connect our products with our experience and put those solutions together. And down in Roy's territory, obviously that means combines. So, for your listeners, like we did last month too, would love to offer another discount if you're up for it, Casey.
I think I can handle a discount. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah.
Well, what we'd like to do is, again, we're going to offer a tire and wheel package this month. See how that goes, specific to combines. So if you need that dual tire and wheel package or that single tire and wheel package, you got to call us. Roy, this month we're going to feature actually an IF tire, Casey, with our partners over at Alliance. Roy, talk about the Alliance IF 580. What are we going to offer there through that tire?
Yeah, it's going to be a tire and wheel combo, 4 tires, 4 wheels. It's an Alliance tire. It's an IF. So again, this is one of the tires you can carry 20%, or sorry, not carry. You carry the same weight with 20% less air pressure, or also fill it up, to the original air pressure that you had and that they generally take, and you can carry more weight. So, but this will be 4 tires mounted on 4 wheels, and then that's when you can give us a shout out and ask for it. The code word we're using this time, though, is Combine Kit.
Combine Kit. Okay.
Yeah, call us on the phone. No matter who you talk to, they'll know about this discount. Or, we've got 3 or 4 different ways just to fill out a form on our website. If you don't want to talk to a human being, that's fine. We're not going to hold that against you. Just put that code, though, in that form submission. Say, hey, I want that IF deal on Combine Kit. And for the whole month of June, you're going to get 3% off that tire and wheel kit. So that adds up pretty quickly when you multiply all that by 4. So we're here to help. We're here to be a resource. And as you're prepping for harvest and looking for that equipment, make sure you at least know you've got a tire and wheel resource in your back pocket next time you go to sell a tractor.
Yeah, and if you don't know any of us or any way to get a hold of us, if you're listening to this podcast, sales at axontire.com is a good way to get a hold of us, and we'll reach back out, give us contact information. We'll be glad to reach back out to you and touch base with you, and talk about your needs, talk about what we can help you with.
Well, I look forward to that, because there's some machines out there I know that I'll need that, especially coming in on trade, especially with some of the age of some of these machines that are going to start seeing trickle in. So, Jesse and Roy, man, guys, I really appreciate you guys being on the podcast. Any last thoughts you want to throw out there before we shut it down?
Well, just gearing up for, fall event season. So as you guys are considering trade shows, road shows, whatever, we're going to be attending a number of them, along with being one of the title sponsors for the Moving Iron Summit down in Nashville. So we've got some fun ideas. Excited to get face-to-face again. Just connecting with you guys. It's been a wacky time, and you lump on all the craziness on the back end of this pandemic with computer chips and ships being backed up in ports and, raw material prices going up. I mean, this is nuts. We need each other. So we're excited to just support and get out and see you guys. And that's it, man. It's just crazy. One week feels like a quarter. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
No,
it can chase your tail. Yeah.
I guess I would just tag on to what Jesse's saying. We're here to support you, and don't think we ain't got issues getting product or things too, because we do. But yeah, we'd love to collaborate with anyone we can, and definitely look forward to talking face to face with each other and seeing everybody down in Nashville that we can. Yep. So definitely look forward to that.
Guys, I appreciate everything we've got going here, and look forward to talking to you guys again next month.
Awesome. Thanks for your partnership. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
All
right.
Well, I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Make sure you check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's where you're going to find the latest editions of the Moving Iron Podcast. Also go to MovingIronLLC.com, and that's where you find the latest information for the Moving Iron Summit, Nashville, Tennessee, that Jesse referenced earlier. So with that, I am Casey Seymour with Roy and Jesse. Let's go get some iron, folks. Out.
You want to have a meaningful competitive advantage to help sell more equipment. Whether you represent the sales, parts, or management department of an implement dealership, there's a surprising amount of complexity when it comes to tire, wheel, and track technology. Let Axon worry about that so you can get back to supporting your customers. Axon has leveraged years of experience to create a streamlined process that gives you a proven path to help today's grower and sell more equipment. The roots of their organization go back almost 100 years to the invention of the rubber tractor tire. Supporting agriculture is the number one driver of Axon, from product development through sales and service. To find more or become an Axon dealer, head over to axontire.com.
Moving higher in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving higher, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving higher.